Welcome to Crawl Walk Run. If you're a product manager and you're struggling to say no, that is definitely a chink in your armor. You really need to have the ability to say no, otherwise you will be bombarded with so many requests that you will find it difficult to prioritize not only your product, your features, but also your life. So here are certain things that I have learned from my own experiences because I was almost on the verge of losing my job for not being able to say no. So saying no has two phases. One, before you say no. Two, after you say no or during you say no. So let's talk about the before part. Number one, if somebody is coming to you with a request, let's say it's a work request, a feature request, etc., your first number one goal, even though your gut instinct says, can't be done, I can't do it, I don't have time, this is not something that I want to do for the product, make sure that you seek to understand the speaker. You really need to understand everything that the speaker is saying so that you have enough data to be able to make the right decision. At times we become impulsive, at times we have a gut instinct to immediately say no without thinking much, or we have a gut instinct to suddenly say yes, just thinking about, hey, I'm not going to spoil my relationship with this person. Try to get the entire data. Step number two, you don't have to say a yes or no immediately. Buy some time, get your thoughts in order, and then is when you can speak. What do you do when you're trying to get your thoughts in order? Back yourself with data. Try to do your own research. Get your own data on customer usage, telemetry, whatever the case may be, so that you can back yourself with data with respect to whether you want to say yes or no. Let's assume there is data that is backing up. Let's assume still you feel that this is not something that a product or a feature that you really want to build. Does it align with your overarching objectives and key results, or even your business objectives for that matter? Seek assistance to generate clarity using the overarching goals for your organization or for your team. If your overarching goals are also conflicting or basically not giving you clarity, try to create clarity and transparency in terms of your own work. Now this work could be your own backlog, your to-do list, etc., whatever the case may be. Let me give you an example. Let's say there's a very vociferous customer who's looking for certain features which you're not really seeing coming from other features from other customers, and according to you it's fairly low priority. Open up your backlog to the customer. Let the customer see where is the maximum bang for the buck with respect to the total value that other customers are trying to ascertain from your product. Open up your backlog, be transparent that way, and see whether you are able to converge. Now let's assume you have done all of this homework and still you have to go and say no. There are certain things that you need to prepare your mind for in the act of saying no. Number one, separate the decision from the relationship. You could be getting requests from your leadership, from your team, from your customers, from some of your top customers, etc. But if you've backed yourself with data, telemetry, objectives, created clarity, and understood the need well, dissociate yourself from the relationship. Do not think that, if I say no to my leader and it's gonna harm me. It might as well be the other way around. You saying yes could harm you equally. So be careful. In your mind, dissociate yourself from that relationship of the person who's coming up with the request. Number two, ensure that the person is heard. Do not preempt your no's or yeses, as I said earlier. If you're saying no, come up with a trade-off. For example, typically how I would say is, hey, I'm unable to do this now, but I would love to revisit this along with you in the month of Feb next year so that we can see whether we may want to put this back onto our backlog or we continue as well. So I provide a trade-off while ensuring that the person is heard. Another thing that you have to prepare your mind for is be comfortable in trading popularity for respect. You may not be the most popular person in the room if you keep saying no to people, but if you have backed it up with strong data, trust me, at the end of the day, you'll be doing justice for your product, for your business value, for your customer value, and you might as well earn some respect at the cost of some popularity, and that is okay. The last and the most important part, when you say no. Be clear about it. Some people are so afraid to say no that they would just let the ball rolling and they would never close on that conversation. I've seen people who just don't want to pick up the phone call with somebody to whom they want to say no. Don't do that. If you have done your homework well, if you have generated clarity, you have gone back to your OKRs, you have understood the requirements well, and you feel that the need of the hour is to say no, then say no explicitly. There's no, well, maybe I will see if I can, but yeah, let me see. No. When you're saying no, just say no. I hope that these tips help you. I have been bitten around by the plague of always saying yes, and trust me, it was not very comfortable. And I hope that you learn from my mistakes, and I would love to hear from you as well in terms of how you have circumvented your own inner voice that asks you to be popular and always say yes. How have you won over that inner voice in the ability to say no? Until then, thank you so much.